lights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you don't like that, turn away now. Kings in our blood, we ride strong and proud. Running up the score, Kings never back down. If you don't like that, this ain't your town.
Not tonight. Only 15 points in the fourth quarter for Sacramento. And other than, Fox scoring, although it wasn't a great game for him, but you had Keon Ellis off the bench, was amazing. You had absolutely nothing from your other starters. Kevin Huerter, terrible. Keegan Murray, terrible. Trey Lyles, okay. Alex Len, he did what he had to do. You needed help from Huerter or Murray. We talked about this at halftime. You didn't get it, and Murray fouled out. He only played, 22 minutes in this game.
Yeah, this to me, though, was not lost on the offensive end, Grant. There was enough to get it done. It was the defensive end. Trae Young just picked them apart, allowed that offense to get flowing. And, unfortunately, pick and roll defense is about communication. You got combinations out there that rarely play together.
Any issues with no timeout on the final possession when the Kings had one in their pocket?
If, De'Aaron wasn't coming downhill and if he wasn't coming off of 109 points in the last 3 nights, but no, I'm okay with it. How about you, Napes?
I'm okay with it because you sometimes, by calling a timeout, allow the team that you're playing to set their defense. And when you have Fox, who's so good, I'm okay with that. There were other things that bothered me a lot more than that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Keegan thing tonight, that was a little bit perplexing. It's been an ongoing conversation. He got to his spots a couple times, but defensively, Grant, I mean, not like him. I know it's a tough assignment, but he usually plays physical without fouling.
Yeah. What was your biggest gripe for the game tonight?
Oh, it's a great question. Probably the fast break points. That you have such a small lineup on the court, Grant. There's no way that you can't get out and run a little bit on this team. And I think the Kings only ended up with 7 fast break points. The last time I checked, when you play small, you got to get out and play with a high pace.
Certainly wasn't Sacramento's best fourth quarter of the year, that's for sure. I thought they missed on a lot of opportunities. They were very careless in that fourth quarter. Execution not good. It just was not a good fourth quarter. I don't know what else to say.
Well, it wasn't. I think both quarters in the second half were not very good on their part. I know that they outscored them in quarter 3, but still there was a lot left on the table. Grant, did you have any problem with the whistle tonight? The fans did not like it.
I didn't think it was a very good game by the officials tonight. So very good.
How about the De'Aaron technical at that point of the game?
I need more clarification on it.
He thought he got hit coming down, fighting for the ball, and didn't probably. He
what I mean by that is I need to know what was said.
We never know what's said.
Well, but that's the point. There's a line that when you cross, the officials are going to call a technical. Certain officials are a little bit more lenient than others. You know that as a player in the NBA. So I'm going to give the official the benefit of the doubt on that.
Yeah, you got to. And I will say this in De'Aaron's defense.
It's a big point, by the way.
Was it ever? That's the difference between overtime right there. In De'Aaron's defense, he's been a lot better about it this year. Yeah. I don't know if that's the time of the game that you want to rally the troops, especially when you're already down a couple points and then it pushes it to 4. But however that may fall, this is how we end the homestand, and hopefully you get 3 guys back on Friday night in LA, Napes.
You better get 3 guys back because you're going to need them. And we're talking about a team that's only a game over 500 right now and a 500 team at home. That does not bode well, regardless of whether you have your guys playing or not playing. And I'm actually surprised the game was as close as it was based on who did not play for Sacramento. I did not think this game would be when it started. At halftime,
Right.
I changed my mind. But at the beginning of the game, I didn't think the Kings would be in this game.
Well, they got a heck of a lot of production off the bench. I know most of that came from Keon, but you got some good minutes from Doug McDermott. You got 8 points from him. McLaughlin played strong again. The end of the second half or the end of the first half, Grant, when they went on the run, the Hawks, that bugged me a little bit because that run was spurred to recover from. I feel like
It is
Mike
tough to
Brown,
recover. Yeah, it is tough to recover.
Mike's got to me, reevaluate when and how they used that defense. There's a time and place for it, and we saw how it worked out in Atlanta. It didn't work out well, and the Kings still got the win.
All right, again, 109 to 108. Yeah, it's you'd love to go back and play this second half again if you're the Kings, wouldn't you? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so much you would do different. So much you would do different. And this is that double-edged sword about the challenge, right? If Mike Brown would have challenged that call on Keegan in the first half, probably 9 times out of 10 gets overturned. He has that extra foul to play with. But if it doesn't, you could have came down into a position with that one.
I got to tell you, I'm really disappointed in Keegan Murray. I really am. I'm disappointed in his lack of offense. It's puzzling to me. It's very puzzling.
Well, yeah, I think that we need to put the onus on him, but I also put a little bit of the onus on the coaching staff. Do something to get the young man going.
Yeah.
You're calling plays for Herter. You're calling plays for everybody else. Lyles, what about Keegan? Give him a shot.
Yeah.
Let's bring Jay into the conversation. What's up, Jay?
How you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing all right. I could tell you what Darren said to the ref. He said he looked directly up at the ref. He said that's bullshit, which it was when you do look at the replay. Fox, he talks a lot to the refs, sure, but in that case, it definitely was a missed call, and that one would have had me pissed off too. And, I'm not one to complain about the refs. Like, you're going to get bad calls. Both teams are going to get bad calls. It is what it is. It's a part of the game. But at some point, you have to stop watching the game and start refereeing the game. It looked like there was a couple times where it was inconsistent calling. And he, in that play, when he said that's bullshit, he definitely did get yanked down to the ground by Hunter. And it's kind of like, well, you see what happened to Beef Stew and Giannis last week, where he yanks Giannis to the ground. He deliberately yanked, he judo tossed. That's what a judo hip toss is. De'Aaron's hand, and hip tossed him over him. And you can see in the replay, and I'm sure they'll that'll be somewhere, and you guys can make an opinion on that for your own. But
well, here's the biggest issue I have with the NBA and their officiating. And I'm speaking for Jerry, who's not with us right now, but we'll discuss it with Jerry on Wednesday at 4:00. Because we feel exactly the same. The NBA, with their respect for the game and their wokeness and kissing the ass of their players overboard, have allowed the situation on the court to get out of hand.
And inconsistent.
There's too much talk going on in the court. We have to acknowledge that officiating the NBA is very, very hard. All right, it's not easy. It's more difficult when you're having constant dialogue during the game with players and coaches. Dialogue should be reserved for stoppages, timeouts, free throw situations, not while the game is going on. There's too much complaining. Luka Doncic is the worst in the league. It's actually turned me off from watching the Mavs play. Draymond Green, awful.
LeBron.
And Ryan is spot on. De'Aaron's been a lot better this year about barking at the officials. I thought it got out of hand last year. It's not good for the league. It's not good for the refs. It's not good for De'Aaron. But this Adam Silver mantra, which is so far overboard, respect for the game. And I've been in all the meetings, Jay. That's why I'm qualified to talk about this.
I know you have.
I've been in the meetings with the commissioner. I've been in the meetings with the officials. And when I'm by meetings, I'm talking about group meetings involving the broadcasters where we talk openly about this and we listen to what's going to be points of emphasis coming into the year and the respect for the game and everything else. It's gone overboard. Okay. Now, I'm not making excuses for the officials. They do make mistakes, Jay. There are games that are poorly officiated. I'm not saying that there aren't, but the league doesn't do them any favors by allowing their players to constantly have dialogue with them in the middle of the game. It's bad.
Yeah, it's not a good look. And then you got, like, not even what you just said about the players and the coaches. You hear the whole time in the background, ref, you suck. Ref, you suck. I'm thinking to myself, like, come on, guys, if you want to get a call, you better stop saying that, because they could hear this stuff. And when I was coaching
That's
down
not going to bother an official to make a call or not. Trust me on that. I have many friends, by the way, just to be transparent, I'm in constant communication with a couple of the very best NBA referees in the league that you'll see doing the NBA finals this year. Okay. So I want you to know, I also am very tight with multiple MLB umpires. Okay.
Oh yeah. That's a tough one too.
That stuff from the stands doesn't impact how they call the game. It just doesn't. I know you may think it does.
Oh, I hope not. So I'm glad.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that.
Here's my issue with it. And Grant, I do agree with most everything you said. It tilts the floor, right? Like, what if you make a good defensive play, but then the ball is held up because the ref's talking to somebody? You know,
Yes.
it causes ebbs and flows in the game when the game should be flowing. And so they walk a fine line, because Grant, Jay, we've seen a couple times this year where the refs have called the games, or maybe let the game get more physical than it should, and then they try to pull it back. And then at that point, it's out of control, and it kills the game. So it's a great point. It's a hard job.
It definitely is. And like I said, I'm not one to complain.
That said, I thought the game was poorly officiated tonight.
You know, I don't disagree. And that's what I said too when I joined. I hate going to the locker room and crying about refereeing. Oh, this, that, and the third. I just hate it. It's demoralizing to me. We should never leave it up to the referees in the first place. But with that being said, they're going to miss calls on both sides. And, you know, it is what it is. And with that being said, the last call, the last play when Fox had the double team on him in motion, right? It didn't look like a foul. On the replay, you can see there was hand-to-hand contact that altered the shot. So we'll see in the 2-minute report if it's an incorrect non-call or
Mike Brown should have challenged it then. He had a challenge.
You can't. I don't think you could challenge anything that wasn't called. There was nothing called.
But didn't the ball go out of bounds?
It did. Actually, I don't think it did. I think Dyson or whatever, he saved it.
Okay.
So you couldn't challenge that. But that would have been a great time to pick up a technical foul so you could stop the game and try to challenge something, you know. But we'll see about that call. But I just want to get your thoughts on that, and I'll hop out.
Well, I want to get your thoughts, Jay, before we talk about that. You watch every game? I know you have a lot of knowledge with this team. What do you think's the deal with Keegan Murray? Are you down on him?
You know, not at all. There's days that are tough. You know, I see both sides. With Grant, it's like, you know, you get in kind of, what is it? Melancholy is the word, where you're like in the middle between about how you feel about Keegan, because you know he has a bright future, and you know you've seen flashes of what he can do. But let's say tonight in particular, the 6 fouls. Yeah, okay, you know, 2 or 3 of them were kind of weak fouls. Let's just call them that. They shouldn't have been called, but it is what it is. This is all a learning experience. He's still learning, right? When you compare him to other players in the league, he's very early on in his career. Yes, he's 24 or whatnot. You know, tonight's game, when he did, like you said, Ryno, he does a great job without fouling. There's going to be nights where refs don't like contact at all. Like you said, there's some refs that let the game go on. There's others that say, no, nip it in the bud is what they say. So it's a learning experience all in all. And I'm not going to rule Keegan Murray out just yet, Grant. That's
okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. But they need him to play better on the offensively. End of the
Absolutely. Offensively, he does. And like you said, Ryno, that you need to make plays for him. And the thing is, I don't think it's not making plays for him. I just think it might be him overlooking shots himself. Because
Jay, you know what? You're spot on. He had a wide open 3 in the first half, and he passed it up for a turnover. That's a great point, Jay.
All right. But I can hop off, but if you guys wanted to answer that while I hopped off the last call.
Good hearing from you, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate
it. Thank you, Jay. Hey, Ryan, before we move on, I want to let everyone know what's going on at Bennett's, because for Thanksgiving, they have a lot of options. 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., you can have a great Thanksgiving meal. Sacramento, Roseville, the West Side Grill, all right, 11 to 7. You go to bennettsrestaurants.com, make a reservation and more. That's bennettsrestaurants.com. Make your Thanksgiving reservation for their 3 locations. Or you can pick up your Thanksgiving hot dinner and take it home and enjoy it in the confines of your living space. Okay? So you have different options. But bennettsrestaurants.com will make the reservation for you. You'll see everything about ordering food to be picked up on Thanksgiving Day. Enjoy your Thanksgiving next week, folks, at Bennett's. Prime Seafood and Steak. bennettsrestaurants.com.
For all the talk about the refs, the Kings actually shot one more free throw than the Hawks in this one. A little bit of food for thought. Let's go to the Guru. Dude, I thought there'd be a celebration going on that set. It lives. They're going to be on ESPN next year, baby.
It's still alive. It's still alive.
alive.
No, I know the refs weren't great, but I thought it was a winnable game. The defensive scheme was pretty good. I mean, they trapped Trey every chance they got, and he got a lot of assists, but they got up to 7 points, shot 1 for 7. So, I mean, they stopped the best player. They let everyone beat him. Hunter was too good, but he made his 3-pointers. I think a lot, you guys are saying Keegan, yeah, he had a tough game, very bad. But I think we got to talk about Kevin a little bit. He was 1 for 10 on a lot of wide open shots today.
Terrible.
And he was shooting 34% coming into this game. He's probably going to go down to 30 after this or something. He's got to play better too. I mean, he's really got to play better.
Much better, especially when you don't have Monk, DeRozan, Sabonis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's pretty much the second playmaker, to be honest, on this team right now. Behind Fox, he's the guy that's got to be when Fox is gone or he needs to take a break on an offensive possession. He's the one, and he had a lot of wide open looks. I didn't love that. I think Ryno said it. The bench played pretty good, just as good as you can probably hope for the bench to play. Doug made his shots today. Jordan was pretty good. We did well on rebounding today, but we did turn the ball over a lot today, which I didn't like.
17.
Yeah. That's a little bit above the norm. But yeah, it was just a tough game at the end. And I just wanted to ask Grant, because I forgot to ask it over the weekend. You still taking Drew over Fox?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I'm taking Drew Holiday. I think he's a better all-around player. So listen, Zach, I like De'Aaron Fox, and you're putting like words in my mouth that I don't like De'Aaron Fox. I've never said I don't like De'Aaron Fox. I've never said I don't like De'Aaron Fox. I've never said he's not a very good player. Okay. I also look at the totality of a season. I don't look at a week's play. I look at the totality of the season. And the reality is, if you want to just get right down to the nuts and bolts of it, to me, De'Aaron Fox's season has been subpar this year. Okay, his week was great. Western Conference Player of the Week, but the totality of his season, in my opinion, has been below his standard. So if I'm judging him on the entirety of the season, which is now basically just under a month, to me, he's underachieved. He overachieved this week, but as a whole, he's underachieved based on what I think he's capable of doing.
No, that's fair. I mean, I never want to say that you don't like him or anything like that. I'm just only comparing the two when you say stuff like that. So if we did the one-on-one trade, do you think we'd have more wins?
You know what, Zach? Move on. Would you please move on? I've answered the question. I'm not going there anymore. I've already explained to you how I feel. If you disagree, I have no problem with you disagreeing. Okay, I have no problem at all. I've made my comments. I believe in what I said. If you don't agree with me, fine. I don't want to sit here and like piss each other off and waste our time with the people that want to talk about tonight's game, talking about De'Aaron Fox off Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday to me is one of the best players in the league because he plays both ends of the floor incredibly well. And he's one of the reasons why the Celtics are walking around with beautiful world championship rings this year. All right?
Yeah, I feel that. I just want to give props to Fox. 29 points this year, averaging 5 and 6, and shooting 51% from the field. So
yeah, well, let me ask you. Let me wrap up the conversation this way. What letter grade would you give Fox on all the games that he's played this year, which has been every one?
I'd probably give a B+.
Okay, me too. That's exactly what I was going to say. B+.
Okay.
B+ to me is not good for him. You know why he's not good for him? Because he's the quarterback of your team, and I need him to be an A, not a B+. I need him to be an A or an A+. This week he was an A+. I don't need him to be a B+. I need my franchise player. I need my best player to be an A to an A+, not a B+.
All right, let's hope he gets there. I love it. Let's get some more wins this week. Take care, guys.
Indeed. All right, thanks, Zach.
What grade would you give Fox to this point?
What's that?
What grade would you give Fox to this point?
I was gonna say a B, to be honest with you. I thought he fluttered between C and B- up until this last week, and obviously an A+ this week, so a strong B.
Okay, but my point is illustrated, right? That I don't judge a season on 2 games.
Yes. What have we talked about with this team? We need 20, 25 games. And even with Fox, the adjustments that he's making and figuring out his game as the season goes along with DeMar DeRozan. I mean, hell, this stretch probably does not happen the way it did without DeMar on the bench. So, and it's a
Correct.
good thing. Same thing for the bench, Grant. We were talking about the bench sputtering all season. Now you've got these guys some run. You've built them some confidence.
Could pay huge dividends.
Absolutely. So we have a super chat. Thank you very much, 209, for the super chat. Not going to put it on the screen. Says that Katie Christensen said that Mike Brown's rotations are inconsistent because he is still getting used to his new assistant. Is this true?
She said that tonight?
I didn't hear it tonight, but yes, she has said that in the past. Normus 209.
All right. I don't want to really get into this, but I'm going to just make one simple comment.
Yeah.
Because we have new viewers from time to time, and I want people to know. Since I left the Kings, I have not watched 1 second, and I mean that, of a Kings telecast with the sound on. Not 1 second. And I'm not exaggerating when I say not 1 second. The only exception was one time you and I, we were at a remote somewhere doing a Kings playoff game, and they had the game on, but I don't even believe it was the local announcers. I believe it was the national feed.
It was game 1 of the Warriors-Kings series. We were at Bennett's, Roseville. Yeah.
And if the local announcers were on, I was purposely not paying attention to it. We were also talking to all the customers and all of the people that came and saw us during that game. So I have not heard any comments from any of the Kings announcers, but I will tell you, even tonight, during the game, I am getting endless numbers of comments from friends and people I don't know via social media talking about how bad it is. All I can say is, I don't know. I don't watch it. I don't know. I can't say. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't.
Too bad NBA League Pass doesn't let you watch the out of market team anymore.
It does where I live.
Yeah, it doesn't here. Zach, what's up, man?
Oh my God! I swear these refs are terrible. I swear every single other star in this league gets called. John Morant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards, they all get these star calls. These refs get paid $400, $500, $600K a year to make bad calls on players that deserve it. My grandma is in a wheelchair, and she can ref better than that. She also got an iPad on.
Shut up. How come you never call and talk about the officiating after the Kings win? You only talk about it when they lose. You know why? Because you're full of crap. That's why. Go away, would you please? And take your grandmother's wheelchair and help her out. Don't make fun of your grandmother in a wheelchair.
Yeah, wheelchairs are tough on the hands. Take it from a guy that lost his legs for a couple of years right here. You don't want to be in a wheelchair. Don't take that for granted.
I agree that the game was poorly officiated tonight. I agree with that. I didn't think it was one of the best games, and it's a shame because Pat Frere and Derek Collins are two of the league's top officials.
It's not why the Kings lost.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Could you say that again, please?
Yes, it is not why the Kings lost this one. Can point to two or three other categories there.
What was the give me the 2 or 3 categories, please?
Well, turnovers, 17 of them. You also allowed them to shoot 43% or 42.1% from beyond the arc. Only 7 fast break points. Keegan Murray. I could keep going if you'd like. There was a lot of other things.
No, don't depress me. I don't want to. I'll get you. I'll make you feel better because I know you have used New Works Plumbing.
Oh, yeah.
They're incredible. If you have plumbing issues, you need repairs, go to sackserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen, 916-713-1010. sackserviceplumbing.com. That's New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. They are awesome. Make sure you keep that website when you need them. That's sackserviceplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. And coming up in just a couple of moments, a rant with Grant.
You know, Napes, I'm thinking about Zach's call now. It's Zach, dude. You don't got to put your takes on your name, okay? That could be a rant on its own. But, and Zach, we love you, dude. We love the passion. But the guys he named off, I don't think De'Aaron Fox is quite in their category yet. SGA, who else did he say? Luka. Yeah, De'Aaron's a star. He's not a superstar.
And hopefully he'll make the All-Star team this year, which he didn't do last year.
Hey, Grant, if he keeps touching the paint the way he has the last couple games, I put up his shot charts for the last 2 games earlier today. He'll be an all-star. There's no doubt about it. You cannot stop him. You can't.
Well, you know Curry's going to be on the All-Star team. You know Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be on the All-Star team. I'm talking about guards in the West.
Right.
You know that Luka is going to be on the All-Star team. So that's 3 guards right there. And we haven't even gotten to the Devin Bookers of the world and the other Western Conference guards.
Yeah, Luka's off to a slow start. If you can call 20,
he's going to get voted, but he's going to get voted on.
Oh yeah, he absolutely will. That's what I hate about.
So he'll get, even if he'll be on the starting unit regardless of what his numbers are, because the fans will vote him in.
No doubt. Even if he didn't play the first half of the season,
that's correct.
He would be on the
stars. That's correct. Even if he didn't play, that's exactly right.
We used to do that back in the day for our Kings. We do that all the time. They used to do campaigns where the school that voted the most got to have a couple Kings there.
And you know, Anthony Edwards is going to get put on the team.
Yeah, there's that guy too. God, the West is so deep. Right? Holy crap.
So we'll get to, I mean, it's still only November, but I'm just trying to say it's not as automatic as you think.
Yeah. And there's that DeMar DeRozan guy too. He's been playing pretty damn good.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. One thing about this game tonight that I think I do want to point out.
Yeah.
If I had told you before the game, and you kind of knew this, but I mean, right before the game started tonight, that Hunter would be coming back for the Hawks along with Bogdanović, and that the Kings would be without Monk, DeRozan, and Sabonis, and I asked you, do you think the Kings would win? I believe that the overwhelming majority would have said, no, the Kings will not win. They're going to lose. And you know what? They came within 1 possession of winning the game.
Yeah. Again, we could take the negatives from it, and I agree. I thought that it was going to be a tough test tonight. But the positives, I mean, you've got some guys that are in flow, in rhythm now that I think aren't going to be as clunky coming off the bench. And you might have in Orlando Robinson, a guy that could sneak his way into some minutes once the starters come back. And that's what I would like to see, Grant. I want to see Orlando out with the guys when they've got a full unit.
All right. And also tonight, the Clippers handed the Warriors only their 3rd loss of the season.
You know, some people are saying the Warriors are the best team in the NBA. You on that train?
I don't know if I think they're better than Boston, but right now I think they're the best team in the West. And I'll tell you why. I think they have the best bench in the league. And I think that when Steph Curry is right, and he looks really right to me, who's better than them in the West when you look at that bench? And listen, we have to call it the way it is. Buddy Hield has been a gigantic pickup for them.
Incredible. Yeah, incredible.
Right? Has he not? I mean, he is clearly right now, to me, the leading sixth man of the year candidate.
I agree. And you know what? He accepted his role. He's not swimming upstream. And look at how it's working out for him.
Yeah. Took him a while to learn to just do what he can do best. But he's in a perfect situation right now. Perfect situation.
He is indeed. They are a plus 10.5 differential net rating coming in tonight. That's strong. Yep. Only one better in the West is Oklahoma City. Still waiting for them to be at 100% as well.
By the way, the Kings at 8-7, okay, with the Clippers winning their game tonight, they now go to 8-7.
You absolutely need the guys back for the Clippers, because the Clippers looked more athletic than the Kings with a full roster, Grant.
That's correct. That is true. I wonder the unknown is if, when, and what will it be like when Kawhi Leonard is playing with that team.
Kawhi's kind of like a chameleon. He can kind of fit in. He's not like a Luka, right? Where he changes the entire flow of offense.
Correct.
I think it can only help. The question is, can he hold up? It seems to just be getting worse and worse for him, Napes. Hate to see it from my SDSU brother.
I do too. All right, it is time for a rant with Grant, brought to you by EDH Motors, Automotive Reimagined. You can get all the information you need by going online at edhmotors.com. David and Adam at EDH Motors have decades of automotive experience, and they're just two people trying to do something different and better with this long overdue new concept. New vehicle brokerage is what EDH Motors provides. Also, vehicle consignments, where they sell your vehicle for you, and of course, they can buy your car and sell pre-owned vehicles, even your RV or boat. You'll take delivery of the vehicle at their auto lounge at the El Dorado Hills Town Center. So that means you don't ever walk into a dealership. You don't have to talk to a salesperson. You're not dealing with high pressure GMs, and you're not getting pushed into the F&I office. This is a tremendous concept at EDH Motors. Again, go to edhmotors.com and you'll get all the information you need as it relates to EDH Motors Automotive Reimagined. Tonight's a perfect example. The Kings lose by a point, and a lot of you on the chat line, and Zach, all you want to do is call and talk about the officiating. But you never talk about the officiating when the Kings win. Same thing in the NFL. Your team wins, and you don't want to talk about the officiating. Your team loses, and the first thing you do is talk about the officiating. How about talking about the officiating after your team wins a big game, like the last game that the Kings played against the Utah Jazz that came down to the wire? Not once did we get a chat message or a phone call talking about the officiating. Not one freaking time. Why is that? Because you're always looking for excuses when your team loses. Ryan said it best. The Kings did not lose the game tonight because of the officiating. And I acknowledge that the officiating tonight was subpar. But I also saw a lot of calls that went in the favor of Sacramento and against Atlanta, meaning that, to me, it looked like they kind of evened out. The Kings did not lose to the Atlanta Hawks tonight because of the three officials. But there are so many of you, like Zach, who cannot accept the fact that Keegan Murray sucked, that Kevin Huerter sucked, and that other than really Fox and Ellis, you didn't get what you needed to win a game when you were shorthanded. You can't accept that. So you have to find something else that is going to pacify your weak little brain to get you through the night so that when you wake up tomorrow, you're okay. So you know what you're going to do? You're going to ease that stress on your brain, and you're going to blame the officiating. That's what you do. Cop out. You know what? Just once. Call up, send a message about the officiating when your team wins. Thank you. And that's my rant for tonight.
Bad night for Zach, man. Bad night for Zach. Hey, Grant, really quick before we go to another call. Adam Silver still searching, rehab the All-Star game,
I know.
looking
It's a joke.
to maybe go tournament style now.
With 3 teams.
And the winners of the Rising Stars game, they would get a squad as well.
The NBA has gone off the rails, right? Did you see who was the player, help me out here, that was admonished, as he should have been, for
LaMelo
using,
Ball.
thank you, for using a gay slur, correct?
Yep, LaMelo Ball.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is the NBA Cup sponsored by Emirates Airlines? It's called the Emirates NBA Cup. Okay.
Yeah.
Did the NBA play a preseason game this year in Abu Dhabi?
They did.
Okay. Have you spent 60 seconds or 2 minutes or 3 minutes about what the laws are like and the customs as it relates to homosexuality and the LGBTQ community? Have you spent 1 minute? Have you looked at what their customs are and the laws are as it relates to our gay community?
Unlike the PGA, I have.
Okay. So the NBA wants to admonish publicly a player for using a gay slur, which I have no problem with, by the way, but yet they have no problem going and playing in an area of the world where this sexuality, this lifestyle is completely prohibited and frowned upon and ridiculed by law and by customs. And they have no problem. By the way, I love Emirates Airlines, for the record. They have no problem having Emirates being their big sponsor,
Right,
based out of Dubai, which goes against everything that the NBA believes in when it comes to this sort of lifestyle.
Well, Grant, they totally believe it. They moved an All-Star game because of it, remember?
You think? Out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So the NBA, to me, it's all wokeness. It's all crap. It's all about your almighty dollar. The NBA doesn't give a damn about your sexuality, my sexuality. They don't care about you, or they don't give a damn. You know what they care about? How much money are they making for their owners and their players? That's what they care about.
And to be fair, it's not just the NBA. I mean, you got the PGA that's
Of course, it's not just the NBA.
Maybe merging with Live Golf. You have the NFL. We're not going to get into politics, but fining players retroactively for wearing hats that has to do with politics. It's widespread.
I did a rant on this yesterday, or was it today? Today. Brock Bowers of the Raiders did the Trump dance.
Yep.
He was asked about it after the game during his media availability, and he said everyone's doing it. And then he said he watched the UFC fight the night before with the champ John Jones, and he was doing it. He thought it was cool, so he wanted to do it. And right after he finished his answer, the Raiders abruptly ended his media availability. They didn't want him taking any more questions on that topic. How about that?
It's incredible.
It's incredible. And I did a rant on it because, and you know how I feel about this. I don't care who you voted for. Right. I don't care if you were a Democrat or a Republican, or you are. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. You live in America. You have a right. That's why we have our democracy, and we choose to who we want to vote for. That's what our system is based on. That's what we agree upon as Americans, and that's why a lot of people want to move and live in America. I have no problem with that. You want to vote for Trump? No issues at all. I have many friends that voted for Trump. I have many friends that voted for Harris. I'm fine with that. I don't care. Vote for whoever you want. 76 million Americans voted for Donald Trump to be president. Deal with it. And by that, I mean, stop with the hypocrisy and double standards, and stop with the abruptness. Oh, you can't talk about that. Oh, oh no, we can't. You can't
talk about the president.
It's a joke. But that's the country that we have been living in over the last several years. The wokeness, the cancel culture. It's just, and again, I don't care who you like and who you don't like. It's fine.
Yeah.
But the Raiders to abruptly end his press conference, even Bowers confirmed that's exactly what happened. It's a joke.
Yeah, and on the flip side, Nick Bosa not answering questions about it, that's a joke too. If you're going to open yourself up to it, stand up for your view, stand up for what you believe in. Don't say, "Oh, I'm not taking questions about it." But the bottom line is, I don't know how you would navigate this scene as a professional sports league these days, because you see things swing back the way that they did. And obviously there's a lot of people that think it's way too woke, yet you tippy toe. LaMelo Ball says what he said. He gets fined. You have guys lose jobs over things that are said. I know.
All lives matter, every single one. Anybody, you have a problem with that?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, most people don't. Black and white, by the way.
Yep. Most people didn't even know what that meant at that time. So
Napier Pollard, 2028.
There you go. Napier Pollard. Who would be the VP and who would be the
I'm definitely having Scott as the president. That's come on.
I didn't listen to Scott's post, but I saw him post a picture. It looks like he had the opportunity to find out about his donor.
So how that works is you are allowed to write a letter, or you're allowed to make an effort to contact the donor, but only if the donor's family wants to be contacted, and only if they allow it. You can't just you cannot find out who your donor is unless the family of the donor, okay? And I would also tell you, not all recipients want to know, okay? Some don't. So Scott was very fortunate on the birthday of the donor. I believe the donor would have been 46. Don't hold me to that exact age. Might have been a few years younger. Scott had a 1 hour plus phone call with the family of the donor. Scott found out that 5 other people were benefited from the generosity of the individual who donated not only his heart, but his skin, kidneys, other organs. The only family that they have had contact with, or the only other recipient, is Scott. They are going to help Scott now in donor awareness, and they're going to team up with Scott to get other people to become donors and really hone in the importance of becoming a donor. And I can't think of a better tandem of someone like Scott, who's very personable, very well known, and a family who lost their loved one suddenly, who not only helped out Scott, but 4 or 5 other people that now have a new lease on life. So I'm really happy. I talked to Scott about this. He is so grateful grateful that he now has, he told me he has another son now. The donor had a 12-year-old son, and he sent me a message. He goes, I'm a father now to another boy, 12 years old. And I was like, how freaking great is that Scott has that approach and that attitude that he now is the father, that he needs to take over that role and help. When I mean take over, assist
right
in the role of helping raise that 12-year-old. Isn't that great?
It's incredible. If you have not had the opportunity, earlier in the summer, Scott came on the channel with Grant not too long after his transplant, and it was a polarizing conversation. Go check it out at your leisure on the channel.
Well, I will say that I'm 65 and I've experienced a lot of things in life. One of the most impactful experiences that I've ever had was being in Scott's intensive care room 16 hours after he received his new heart with his wife, Dawn, just the three of us. And what I witnessed that day, and my talk with Scott that morning in Nashville, Tennessee, at the Vanderbilt Medical Center, was something that humbled me, was something that I will never forget, and has completely, and I really mean this, has changed my outlook on a lot of things. I've talked to Scott about this because Scott, we pretty much message each other every day, and he knows what I'm going through. He knows about my lawsuit, and I'm waiting for the judge.
Yeah.
And, he's upset that it's taking this long. And I said, hey, Scott, you know what? I'm going to be fine. I'm healthy, knock on wood. I go, I have no right to complain. What Scott went through and what other donors, and guess what? Not everyone gets what they need. And it's too late, and they die in the hospital. Scott was blessed. He was lucky. He got what he needed, and it ended up being a really, really good match. Not everyone's that fortunate. But again, being in that hospital room, that intensive care unit, and seeing Scott get up out of bed and seeing the nurses and the doctors, the cardiologist, and experiencing what I did for a couple of hours on that morning in Nashville, Tennessee, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it.
The timing of all that was freaking incredible. We had lunch at Bennett's. You were already planning on being in Nashville. You were stopping by, and then you found out. They found out. You didn't just go out there.
No, Scott was going to be in the hospital. He was in the hospital waiting for a heart transplant. And I said, I'm going to go fly to Nashville. I'm going to surprise Scott. And I had booked my flight. And I was like, I'm going to go surprise him. And then literally the night that I was getting ready to leave, that day, Scott sent me a message. I really believe I'm getting a heart tomorrow. And I said to him, I go, I need to tell you something. He goes, what's that? I said, I'm coming to Nashville. I've already decided that I'm coming, and I was coming to surprise you, but I now know I won't be able to see you tomorrow if you get your heart. So I love you, and I'm rooting for you, and I'll be there to give Dawn a hug. That was my message to him. Because I didn't think there was any way in the freaking world, as I was flying to Nashville on the red eye, that I would be able to see Scott after just receiving a heart. I didn't think so.
Me either.
I didn't think so. I knew I'd be able to see Dawn, but I also knew that I wasn't going to spend a lot of time with Dawn, but I wanted to let her know that I was there and I love her. And so I got to, I don't know, the intensive care unit waiting room at roughly 8:30 in the morning. And I sent her a message. I go, hey, I just want to let you know I'm in the waiting room. No rush. I just want to give you a hug. That's what my message. I just want to give you a hug. And she says, I'll be right there. And she came out. We gave each other a big hug. And she said, let's go. I go, let's go where? She goes, to see Scott. And I was blown away. I was like blown freaking away. And what blew me away when I walked into the room, Scott was awake and coherent.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with him in the first 2 minutes of being in the room almost like he was fine,
Surreal.
even though he was high. He must have had 50 tubes hooked up to his body, in his body. He had blood coming out of his neck. Anyway. So back to the family, because we just received a message from an organ recipient. He said, he goes, here we go. That's cool that the family replied, I wrote my donor family, but they did not respond to the letter. That's exactly right. Scott wrote a letter, not knowing if he would get a response or not. And finally, he did. They set up a phone call, and it happened to be on the donor's birthday. Amazing, right?
Amazing. I have a new son. That just hits you right there.
Not that this is important based on what we're talking about. I did not lose my lawsuit. The lawsuit is ongoing. So stop spreading stupidity, would you please? And based on what we're talking about, my lawsuit's not important. Maybe Keegan already peaked personal problems. You know, whenever someone struggles, why do we always assume they're having personal problems? So he needs to play better, right? He needs to play better. He knows it. But I'm not going to, I like Keegan Murray. First of all, I really like him as a person. Have you ever met Keegan?
I have.
He's a great guy. He's root incredible. For him. Yes. Right. Thank you.
He's warm. He's so warm.
Yes. I root for Keegan Murray because I just like him as a person. Yep. I like him a lot. You know, he plays golf with my son all the time, and I've gotten to know him from the golf course, although I have never played with Keegan, so I don't want to make it sound like we play golf. I've never played golf with Keegan, but I've met him on the golf course before with my son. And he's just the nicest, polite, respect. You can just tell he's got it. You know, can I just say that? He's got it.
He absolutely gets it. He was raised right. Anyways, I think, and somebody put this in the chat, I'm not taking credit for it, but they said, do we need to readjust our expectations of Keegan Murray? And I think there's some validity to that. I put up his stats his first 2 years compared to De'Aaron's. And arguably, outside of De'Aaron, maybe even better than De'Aaron. Tell me another Kings rookie that's had a better 2 years where they're showing steady progression like Keegan Murray. Everything the coaches ask him to do, Grant, he does. Now, he needs to make more shots. It's not like he's trying to miss the shot, but he is a coach's dream. Anybody you talk to around this program can't speak highly or more high about him. So I don't know. There's got to be a scapegoat. You nailed it earlier in the show. It's the officials. It's Kevin Herter.
All right, so let me update you on the standings, if I may, in the West. Okay?
Yeah.
With the loss now, Sacramento is 10th. 10th. They and the Clippers are 8 and 7. The Clippers are ahead of them due to the fact that they've already beat the Kings once this year.
Right.
Not that that means a lot, but I'm just telling you why that is if you look at the standings.
Yep.
The Clippers and the Kings are 8 and 7. Minnesota is 8th, tied with Memphis at 8 and 6. Memphis is 7th. Minnesota is 8th. Denver is 6th. Phoenix, who's really sliding, they've lost 4 in a row without Durant, is 5th. Houston lost tonight. They're 10 and 5. The Lakers are 9 and 4. Golden State lost. They're 10 and 3. And Oklahoma City at top of the list at 11 and 3. All right, let me give you the bad part of this right now, if I may.
Please.
The Kings have not yet played Oklahoma City or Golden State.
Yeah, and you got 3 more with the Lakers too.
Right.
This month or next month.
But maybe when you play Oklahoma City, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's hurt. Maybe when you play, you never know. But I'm just saying, in general terms, the Kings are 10th, and they have not yet had a game. They play Oklahoma City 3 times this year and Golden State 4. That's 7 games against the top 2 teams in the West. You also have not played Houston this year, who swept you last year and who looks really good this year.
Yeah.
Okay? Keep that in mind when you talk about the Kings currently being 10th. And I'm not saying the Kings can't beat Oklahoma City or Golden State because they beat them last year. All I'm saying is, right? You understand?
100%, totally. And to your point, Golden State, it's a toss-up. When those two teams get together, it's just different. That is this generation's Lakers rivalry for sure. Oklahoma City, though, remember at the end of the year last year, there was a lot of chirping about, damn, if the Kings make it out of the play-in, I don't think Oklahoma City's going to want to see them because the Kings played them well last year.
And they'll also be seeing them without Chet Holmgren, who won't come back at all.
Great point.
Until at least March.
And that changes their formula. That completely changes everything with the spacing.
Everything.
And now you'll get Hartenstein back, but that's a little bit of it's a much different style than you play with Chet Holmgren.
And the other part is you've at best evened a tiebreaker with Minnesota. So you're already down 2 games to them, and they're ahead of you in the standings. And again, I know it's not Thanksgiving yet, and I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse. But all I'm saying is Kings need to be – this is a very critical stretch right now, Ryno.
I agree, Grant, but I kind of think it's a critical stretch for all the teams outside of Oklahoma City, Golden State. They're going to be fine. But I look at the Lakers, I look at the Rockets, the Suns, their net ratings minus 1.5. You know, I just feel like this is going to be musical chairs. If the Kings can keep grinding and not beat the Kings, I think this is going to be par for the course the rest of the season. We've talked about the schedule, Grant. It doesn't get any easier.
Do you see the Rockets rating? They're plus 7.9.
That Jalen Green is playing some damn good basketball. Shingun is settling in.
Fred VanVleet.
Van Vliet, he's having another little resurgence. He's earning that big paycheck. Houston, they could be not the next Oklahoma City, but they are definitely setting their picture up right.
I think they've arrived.
Grant,
Sunrise Landing, they've also arrived, and you can get all the information you need by going to CalusaSunrise.com. This is a Blazona development project at the newest residential community in Calusa, Sunrise Landing. Check out all their models. They have various lot sizes to choose from. No Mellorews, no homeowners. Good location adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. Good access to the major arteries, I-5, Highway 45, Highway 20. Just go to CalusaSunrise.com. You'll get all the information. That's CalusaSunrise.com. And Sunrise Landing, check it out. Not the story tonight. And if there's ever a team that needs 3 days off, it's the Sacramento Kings.
Oh, cannot come soon enough. Well said. Get it together. You know, they have not had a contact practice since training camp.
And you know who's that's really going to benefit Orlando Robinson.
It is. It absolutely is. Wait till he gets some time with the other guys. Wait till he is able to get that timing down. He's going to spots instead of the person or the man. It's going to look good. I think it's going to click well.
109-108. The Kings lose to the Atlanta Hawks, and they're now only a game over 500. And next up, a team that's also 8-7, the Clippers. Yeah, it's a divisional game. It's a Western Conference game. Divisional game is not that important, but NBA, the Western Conference, it's a big game.
It's a Emirates Cup game. Bring your sunglasses.
So I have to look at that court for. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll listen to the game on radio.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bring your sunglasses. It is gonna be bright on Friday night.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you, Ryan. Enjoy the rest of your night, buddy.
Thank you, Napes. You as well. Thank you, everybody.
Don't forget, tomorrow I have a show at 8:00 Pacific. Wednesday, 3:00 show in Salisbury. 4:00 with Jerry. What about your shows, Ryno? The King's Court.
1:00 tomorrow. King's Court Live. Join us.
Sounds good. Take care, everybody. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.